My name is Arthur, and I'm 38 years old. I, a man who believed he had a good marriage, started the story on a day meant for joy. It was Christmas Day, the most important holiday of the year. This holiday, usually warm and bright, was now colored by a deep, hidden dread. My wife, Olivia, who is 36 years old, was at the center of this dread. She was the woman I loved, but lately, she felt like a stranger hiding a terrible secret. I remember the air felt thick, not with holiday cheer, but with the tension only I could feel. I had a gnawing feeling in my stomach, the kind you get when you know a great fall is coming. I had spent weeks preparing for this moment, and the thought of the public betrayal and subsequent downfall made my hands feel cold. I knew the peace of the holiday was just a thin mask over a deeper conflict. I tried to focus on the laughter and the food, but all I could hear was a clock ticking down to the moment I would ruin the day and her life forever. I sat at the table, forcing a smile onto my face, but inside I was a coiled spring ready to snap. The weight of her deceit pressed down on me, making every breath shallow. I watched her across the table, her eyes sparkling with what I now knew was false glee, and the deep, cold certainty settled within me. She was about to learn that my patience was not weakness. It was merely the silence before the storm. I noticed the way her brother kept looking over at her, a nervous tick in his eye, and I knew they were accomplices in this ugly secret. The room was full of family, but it felt utterly empty to me. It felt like a stage built only for her humiliation. I took a slow sip of water, cooling the fire in my throat, knowing that soon the temperature in this room would drop sharply. The waiting was the hardest part, the silent rehearsal of the lines I was about to deliver. Be sure to subscribe to my channel for more stories of betrayal and revenge, and comment below where you are watching from. The importance of my annual work bonus cannot be overstated. It was a large amount of money, $15,000 this year. This money was not for treats or gifts. It was earmarked for our house deposit. It was a crucial chunk of cash that would let us buy our first home together. It was a shared future goal, a promise we made to each other many times over late night talks. We had looked at properties, talked about paint colors, and imagined our lives there. Every hour I worked, every difficult project I completed was for that $15,000 and that house. That money was supposed to be the key to our shared future, but I realized it had become the key to her private escape. That bonus represented 2 full months of my salary, a huge sacrifice made to achieve our dream. I had turned down opportunities for less demanding work because the increased bonus structure at my firm promised us this early deposit. I had trusted her completely with this joint goal, believing in our partnership. The thought of her simply treating that effort, that sacrifice, as disposable cash for some selfish whim filled me with a sickening sense of violation. It was not just $15,000. It was the wreckage of our entire shared vision. I looked at the smiling faces of our parents and felt a fierce desire to protect them from the ugliness she had created. The house deposit was supposed to be the anchor of our stability, the proof that we were building something real. Instead, she had seen it as her personal lottery winning, ready to be cashed out without a second thought for my effort or our future. I thought about the long nights I spent crunching numbers, skipping dinners, and pushing myself, all for a future she was already dismantling behind my back. That money was my heart, translated into currency, and she had tried to steal it. The small signs of trouble had begun a few months ago. I noticed small, unexplained debts popping up on our credit card statements. They were not huge, but they were odd. There were small leaks that, over time, would sink the ship. There were charges at stores I did not recognize, under descriptions that were vague and confusing. Then came Olivia's sudden, extreme secretiveness. She kept her phone face down at all times. She started using a new password for her laptop. Our finances, which had always been open, became a closed book that she alone held. This introduced the initial, slow, growing doubt in my mind. I told myself it was stress, that she was just buying me a big secret gift. But the cold logic in my mind knew better. The trust that had been the foundation of our marriage started to crack, little by little, every time she flinched when I walked near her. I remembered one night I reached for her phone to check the time, a casual, innocent movement, and she snatched it back with a violent speed that shocked me. Her explanation was weak, something about a work project, but the look in her eyes was pure, unadulterated guilt. That incident was the first massive crack in the wall of my confidence. I started staying late at work, not because of extra tasks, but because I dreaded coming home to the lie. The air in our apartment felt toxic, thick with unspoken secrets and fake smiles. Every dinner became a performance. Every I love you felt like a lie spat into the wind. I was living with a stranger, a thief who shared my bed and my name. The doubt was no longer a small voice. It was a screaming siren I could not ignore. The doubt became a terrible, cold certainty a few weeks before Christmas. The feeling was like dropping into an icy lake. I found a cryptic receipt tucked into her jacket pocket while helping her with laundry. It was a luxury purchase for an unknown third party. It was clearly expensive, far beyond anything she would buy for herself or me as a casual gift. The item was a high-end watch, paid for in cash. I felt a wave of nausea, knowing instinctively this was not for our shared future. Then, when I tried to log into our joint savings account, where the bonus was supposed to land, I could not. Olivia had changed the password to the account she knew I managed. She did not tell me. My attempt to access our own money was blocked by my own wife. It was an action of complete financial betrayal, a lock placed directly on our future. The cold, sinking feeling of realizing the betrayal was immediate and raw. It was not just about the money. It was the final, absolute proof that she was working against me. She had not only planned to steal, she had already taken steps to cut me out. The shame of being locked out of my own money, the money I earned, was crushing. It was a calculated move designed to keep me blind until it was too late. I understood then that she saw me as a wallet, not a husband. I sat at my desk for hours that night, the screen demanding a password I did not know, realizing the gravity of the legal trap she was trying to set. This was the pivot point, the moment I decided to stop being the fool. I was through with the sadness and the shock. I stood there, staring at the screen that demanded a password I did not have, and my emotions evaporated. They were replaced by a code, surgical precision. I stated my exact, cold decision. I would not confront her yet. No yelling, no crying, no immediate breakup. That would have been messy and expensive. I decided I would plan. I had a few weeks until the annual family Christmas dinner. That dinner was the perfect stage for her exposure and my revenge. I would not let her steal from me. I would not let her humiliate me in private. She wanted a performance, and I would give her one. The silence I maintained over the next 2 weeks was my greatest weapon. I became the perfect husband, attentive, smiling, and completely disengaged. I ate the meals she made, listened to her superficial talk about the holidays, all the while constructing her downfall in my mind. I knew the public nature of the betrayal was key. She valued her image more than she valued me. I would shatter that image completely. I was no longer interested in saving the marriage. I was only interested in protecting myself and serving justice, chilled to the core. My revenge plan began immediately. The first step was vital. I walked into a different bank branch, one she did not know about, several towns away from where we lived. I was quiet, methodical, and serious. I detailed the first step of my revenge plan, opening a new, secret personal bank account, titled in my name only. I made sure her name was nowhere on the document, triple-checking every line of the form. This new account was my fortress. It was my lifeboat. It was a new home for the money she thought was hers to steal. I felt a rush of cold, terrifying competence. The game was mine now. I put a stop payment order on any recurring joint withdrawals that might accidentally pull from the wrong place. I even got a new debit card in a generic design, which I hid in a specific compartment in my briefcase. I told no one, not even my closest friend. This was a solo operation, clean and airtight. Every decision I made was about legal security, ensuring that when the dust settled, she would have absolutely no claim. I secured my financial future completely before I even delivered the first line of my prepared monologue. Then came the crucial, secret action, the linchpin of the whole scheme. I contacted my employer's payroll department. I was discreet and professional, citing a need to streamline my personal accounting for tax purposes. I made up a simple story about wanting to separate my personal savings. I detailed the crucial secret action, contacting my employer and rerouting my entire $15,000 bonus, which was due any day, directly into the new secret account. The money never touched the joint account that Olivia controlled. I also transferred out a smaller emergency fund from the joint account, leaving a balance just big enough not to raise an immediate alarm, but small enough to be meaningful. The account was not empty, so she would not panic and try to pull a larger trick, but it was ruined for her grand spending plans. This felt like the moment I took back control of my life. I had watched her play her hand, and now I had taken away her ability to even play the game. The payroll manager confirmed the switch would be complete before the transfer date. I checked my new secret online banking portal every morning, waiting for the notification. When the $15,000 finally landed safely in my private account, I felt a powerful, silent wave of victory wash over me. The trap was perfectly set. The tense Christmas dinner was the grand stage for my plan. Our extended families, my parents, her brother, were all present, totaling about 20 people. Everyone was dressed up. The room smelled like pine and roast meat. The mood was falsely cheerful. I smiled, I nodded, I ate the food, but my mind was miles away. I was running through the script. I kept glancing at Olivia, knowing what was coming, letting the anticipation build. I saw the satisfied look in her eyes, the look of a person who thought they had a great secret and had completely won. She had no idea the trap was already set and sprung. I noted her brother, Victor, looking overly cheerful, clearly hoping his debt issues were about to be solved with my money. I waited for the appetizers to be cleared and the main courses served, ensuring maximum audience capture. I timed it perfectly, waiting until everyone was relaxed and talking. The contrast between the festive mood and the bomb I was about to drop would be absolute. The time for silent watching was over. I casually brought up a future topic related to the house. I made it sound completely innocent. I asked my dad what he thought about the mortgage interest rates, mentioning a figure I had seen in the newspaper. My father-in-law, a man who always liked to talk numbers, jumped right in. He asked a direct question about the bonus. He said, "I hope that big bonus came through, Arthur. You two need that cash for the deposit before rates climb." This forced Olivia's hand. I had given her no choice but to expose her lie right then and there. I watched her closely, anticipating her exact reaction. She saw the opening she wanted, the chance to humiliate me in a controlled environment. She thought she was delivering a controlled detonation. Olivia's eyes darted around the room, taking in the audience. She knew she was cornered by the family's expectations, and she decided to lean to the drama. She tried to deflect with a false, careless laugh, but the question was too direct to ignore. Then, she dropped the bomb with a cruel smile, treating it like a funny little secret that I was too boring to understand. She looked right at me, relishing my imagined defeat and humiliation. Olivia said, "Oh, we have not told everyone yet. I spent all your bonus already." The air instantly went out of the room. The stunned silence was absolute. The noise vanished entirely. I heard the distinct sound of a fork dropping onto a ceramic plate from across the table. My parents and in-laws reacted in immediate disbelief. My mother made a soft, distressed sound of shock, covering her mouth with her hand. My father-in-law started to sputter a question, unable to form words. I kept my face stone cold and silent. I did not move. I did not react. I wanted the full attention of the room on her cruelty and her confession. She had done the hard part for me, admitting her crime publicly. Olivia mistook my silence for shame or weakness. She saw my lack of tears as confirmation that I was a pushover, easily defeated. She doubled down on the accusation, trying to make me look foolish and cheap for even bringing up the money. She leaned in, playing the drama queen and the victim of my supposed stinginess. She said it was $15,000, not $1 million. I bought some things I needed and paid off a secret debt from my brother. She had no idea how those words were sinking her ship faster than anything I could have said. She had just publicly admitted to stealing my money and giving it to her brother, her accomplice, right in front of her parents. My moment had arrived. The time for acting was over. It was time to deliver the first devastating blow. I leaned in toward the center of the table, my voice clear and utterly devoid of emotion. I spoke with the authority of a man who had won the war before the first shot was fired. I said, "Olivia, you are right. It was not $1 million, but that $15,000 was never in our joint account for you to spend." The effect was immediate. My parents looked utterly shocked, but her family's faces twisted into confused dread. Olivia's face went from smug cruelty to complete confusion and then raw panic. Her eyes frantically searched mine for a sign of a lie or a joke, but they found only cold emptiness. She realized the power had completely shifted, and she had no idea why. She grabbed her phone out of her pocket, her fingers scrambling to check the account. She must have believed the money was still in the joint account where she had blocked me. She said, "What are you talking about? It was transferred in last week. I checked the balance." Her voice was high-pitched, a sound of desperation I had been waiting weeks to hear. I exposed the whole story to the room in a calm, devastating manner, leaving out no detail. I revealed finding the receipt, the changed password, and my preemptive, calculated move of switching my direct deposit weeks ago. I spoke to the entire room, giving them the complete picture of her deliberate theft and my counter move. I said I acted only after she violated my trust and blocked my access to our money. I explained that she had given up her right to the money the moment she changed the password. I spoke of cold, hard facts, not emotion, letting the facts do the damage. The sweetest part of the revenge was the financial status update I gave. I confirmed the $15,000 is safe and sound in an account she would never touch. I told the room that it was secured for the house deposit, my house deposit now. I then revealed the final balance of the old joint account. I told the room that the joint account now had a balance of only a few $100s. I pointed out that all her recent secret purchases have been funded by her alone or by depleting the last of the small shared money I had left there. The revenge was complete. She had only hurt herself, and she had done it in front of the people she wanted to impress. She had depleted her own available funds trying to appear solvent. Her brother, who received the secret debt money, looked sick, utterly destroyed by the public exposure. The color completely drained from his face as he realized his sister's scam had failed. I turned to him, not in anger, but with cold contempt. I revealed the specific luxury item receipt I found was a $3,000 gold watch for him. The double betrayal was complete. I said she did not just spend it on herself, she diverted it to her brother, an accessory to her betrayal. I watched the shame burn in his eyes, knowing his debt and his shame were now a public family issue. Her parents were devastated and utterly humiliated by the detailed exposure of their daughter's greed and their son's debt. They saw their daughter's entire life of deceit laid bare on their own Christmas table. My parents were stunned by the drama, but clearly proud of my decisiveness and quick thinking. My mother looked relieved, and my father gave me a sharp, approving nod. The high drama of the dinner was the perfect visual of her total social downfall. She was ruined in front of everyone who mattered to her, their judgment heavy and final. I stood up straight, towering over the table, giving her no chance to recover. I delivered the final, irrevocable statement to Olivia. I looked her directly in the eye, and all the years of love were gone, replaced by a deep well of justified anger. I said, I am done being lied to, Olivia. I spent the last few weeks moving every important document and locking down my accounts. I will be filing for divorce on Tuesday. The word divorce hung in the air like a final hammer blow, signifying the end of everything. Olivia was left sputtering, losing all control. She started to beg and cry in a loud, ugly way that felt completely manipulative and weak. She tried to grab my arm, shouting that she was sorry and that she loved me. She was ruined in front of the most important people in her life, her mask entirely stripped away. She was forced to face the reality of being financially cut off and socially disgraced. She had lost everything she was trying to steal. Her face was a pure picture of total, unrecoverable defeat. I stood up from the table, thanked my parents for hosting Christmas dinner, and walked out. The $15,000 was safe, already earmarked for my new solo life. The marriage was over, but I was not financially crippled or a fool. I had kept my future intact, walking away clean and secure. I briefly summarized her immediate and total downfall. She had no choice but to move back in with her parents, having no funds of her own. She has no legal claim to the money she tried to steal because it never entered the marital account. The divorce goes through quickly and cleanly because of my preemptive action. My planning ensured I was free and secure, moving forward to buy my own home. She thought she was being clever and was going to leave me with nothing, but she was the one who ended up losing her security, her dignity, and her marriage in the most public, humiliating way possible. The revenge was sweet, calculated, and absolute. What would you have done in this situation? Was Arthur right to wait until the Christmas dinner to reveal the switch? Or should he have done it sooner? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories of cold, absolute revenge.